Hey guys, today we're going to look at how to use and create a Google form that will autofill so that you can use a QR code for a specific piece of equipment so the students can scan that code, check out the equipment, and move on, and you know that you have a good inventory of what's going on and your students are held accountable. There's some checks in here in terms of holding them responsible, including that they're going to fill out their return date so they know specifically when it's due. It also will send them an email from your Gmail account to let them know that that this is when it's due and that they have a receipt of when they check it out and when they check it in. So this is what it's going to look like. I'm writing this or doing this assuming you have a limited knowledge of how to use Google Drive. If not, there's some other videos in the channel here that will allow you to kind of familiarize yourself a little bit more. This is a simple Google form. I am going to just put my information in there. I'm going to say that I'm checking out a camera. And this is the part where you will have an autofill. You will create a specific link for all of these pieces of equipment. I just grabbed a list of stuff from the internet somewhere, so that's what these random numbers are. And so you will have that will be auto-filled. When you click continue, it's going to take you to a checkout information, reason for checking out, to make awesome videos. Return date, this is the thing where you're telling the students that they know when they're supposed to turn it in. So for this one will be due at September 30th, 3:18 p.m. The camera has a crack on the left hand side, so that way if there's something that isn't right, the kids can do that and not have a problem with you going, hey, you've messed this up. So they hit submit, gets this, and in just a moment, if it works relatively quickly, I will get a response email, in this case from myself, confirming the checkout of that camera. So that's in the title, confirmation of checkout of this Olympus at 9:27 at 3:45. This is the rest of the subject or the message here. I'll show you how to write that, how to customize that. That is actually some pretty simple JavaScript. Don't be freaked out by that. It's really kind of easy once you get it figured out. So we're going to start over. The first thing I would suggest that you do is to put your inventory in some sort of a spreadsheet. That's going to help in a little while. If it's on a document, it's a little bit more tough to do some shortcut stuff that I'm going to show you in a bit. I created a spreadsheet in Google Drive. This is a Google spreadsheet. This would be my inventory, form URL, and QR code image. That'll all make sense in just a little bit. Again, we're going to create a custom URL for each one of these pieces of equipment. It's kind of intensive on the front end, but it's much better than having to manage 10 to 15 different spreadsheets once you move forward. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new form, and you won't have to do that create and share. There are several people who have access to my folders and that kind of stuff, so that's what that form was. Now, first thing you do once it pops up, you're going to name your form and choose your layout. So equipment, checkout, check-in, form. You can choose from any of these kind of designs. I always go with the simple one. I don't need flowers and that kind of stuff, but if you do that, it's totally fine. So first name, and you could do this and not break it up to where it's first and last name if you want. I just break it up so that I can go back and check later. Make sure that you require all the questions. All the questions here are important. They will actually play a very big role here after a while. So required question for last name. Email address, again, super important. That way they get their email response. Now make sure that your students understand that when they put an email address in, they have to put the entire thing in. A lot of my students will just put their name at Gmail, and the computer won't give them the correct email address. So, and then below here will be the equipment list, and I'm going to make it multiple choice. I'm going to go over to my inventory list here, copy it. You have to use keyboard shortcuts in Google Drive, so Control C to copy, Control V to paste. All of my equipment is now pasted in here, and again, this isn't my equipment, it's just a list of cameras that I got from the internet. So now I am going to add a page break. Check that. I'm going to add another question. I'm going to add another multiple choice question asking if the students are checking out or checking in. And the reason I'm going to do that is because the form will allow you to send them to a custom page which will ask different questions depending on what they answer. So check out, check in. Now before I do anything else, I'm going to make that a required question. I am going to click here on this little arrow and add a page break and do check out page. I'm going to click done. Go and add another page break. Check in page. Then I'm going to go up to the top to check out check in question here. Next to it, you see next to where it says multiple choice, go to page based on answer. Check that on. So check out, we'll go to the checkout page, check in to the check in page, click done. Now I'm going to go to the back to the checkout page. I'm going to add one called return date. And this is another way for you to hold your students accountable. Actually, I didn't do a good job there of clicking that little button, because if you just hit add item, it will just add whatever you added last time. So I made a mistake there. I'm going to go back and change it to date. So return date. It's going to do date. I don't want to include the year because it's I'm assuming that it is this going to be returned within the year. And then return date and camera or equipment. The reason I keep saying camera is because I just did them for cameras earlier. Equipment, check out inspection, and change that to paragraph text. And then under help text, I can put this is the area for you to tell of any damage or areas of concern with the equipment before checkout. You may be held responsible for damages not listed here when you check the camera or check the equipment in. So that's required. Boom. So that's the checkout page. The check-in page, again, I will do the same thing, but I will just have one question, because I don't need to know when they're planning on returning it, because when they check it in, it will receive a timestamp. So check in, let's see, inspection. Okay, done. Now, what I'm going to do is go back up here to after page 2, submit form. Don't forget that. That will burn you if you do. You don't have to do that for page 3, but page 2 you definitely do. And you don't have to worry about after page 1, because when you click checkout or check in, it will kick you to these pages. So now my form is complete. I am going to choose response destination. I just typically use the default, but you can make it whatever you want. If you want to do a new one for every year, just change the date there. Going to click create, and what that has done is that it's creating a spreadsheet that's going to have the information there. So I'm going to go to the live form. First name, Tom White, rcabvp1064@gmail.com. I highly suggest, if you haven't already, go ahead and make a Gmail account that is not your personal Gmail and it's just for school. So check out, continue, and then September 30, because it's a Friday, at 3:04 p.m. The camera looks great, no problems. So I'm going to hit submit. Now that has gone in. If you go to view responses, you will see there it is. Now, there's a lot of power in this spreadsheet. Obviously, you can do all the sorting and all of that stuff that you would need to do, but you could also go in and, using their scripts tools, you can create a ton of very powerful scripts, including one that will send you emails emails back and forth, allowing you to know that your student has sent in a response. It will send it from your email account to the student. and I keep a base assignment form and all that stuff, and I have it on there. So let me copy that, and I will copy this. I will create a document for you that you can copy and paste this form in from, and that way you can use it and manipulate it for however you want. My computer is running horribly slow right now, but you can see here this is where I was testing it before, and I always do silly things. Mr. White is a gigantic nerd is from Ben McCumber, our public safety teacher here at RCA. All right, so now I'm just going to click on script editor because that's where I have it currently. But again, I will put this in a document for you guys that I'll put in the link so you can open it up and look at it. And it's a really simple JavaScript file. Don't let it confuse you at this point. Don't worry about it at this point. I will walk you through every step of it as I go into Tools. Go to Script Editor. And again, in Google Drive, you can't just right-click and copy. You have to use shortcut keys, Control-C and Control-V. Now, this is the Google Apps script. I got that from clicking on Tools and then Script Editor. And I'm going to create a script for a spreadsheet. And it'll take just a moment to get that going. And what this is going to do is it's going to pull information from very specific areas on your spreadsheet to send out these emails. So first thing I'm going to do is title it equipment check in out email response, or just email. Okay, so what it's looking for here is it's got first name, last name, period number, to address. Those don't work in what we're doing here. So I am going to separate this out. And again, I use Google Chrome for pretty much everything web-based. So now I have them separated out. And going into JavaScript real quick, let me explain how this works. This is column 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. You have to remember that first column is 0. So first name is actually in column 1. Last name is in column 2, just the right way. And then period number is column 3. I am going to get rid of that altogether. I'm going to change to address right here to 3. And then equipment list is going to be equipment info. In JavaScript, the way that you typically write is the first word is lowercase, and if there's a second word, you uppercase the first letter. That's very important when you get further along. So equipment check-in or check-out, I'm going to change, actually equipment info should be 4. And then check in out is going to be 5, and return date, you want to make these as easy as possible to read to where you can just literally look down and go, oh, I know exactly what that's supposed to be. Okay, so that is all we need at this point. So for the subject, I am going to put quote check our quote how do I want to put that? I'm going to do equipment, so equipment info, the plus sign, and then you want to build a space inside your quotation marks. So equipment info is going to be the piece of equipment. I'm going to put was, and then check in out plus quotation mark space at plus timestamp. Okay, so now I have all of that taken care of. It is all in there. And do I have timestamp at the top? Yes, I've just rolled it down. So now the subject of the email is going to say equipment info was checked out at timestamp. That is going to tell. That's going to be in the subject of the email that comes from the automated system. So from here out, I don't need that back screen. Email body. So this is your confirmation of check in or out of equipment info. So that's going to tell the piece of equipment that they checked out. Again, space on space plus timestamp. So the first line is going to read, this is your confirmation of check-in or check-out of the piece of equipment on, and then it's going to give the timestamp. So let's say I'm checking out a GoPro. So this is your confirmation of checkout of the GoPro on September 27th at 4 o'clock. So beyond that, this is going to be the body. Okay, this is inside the body. So I am going to put the details you entered were as follows. I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to put equipment checked equipment. I'm just going to leave that there. Okay, equipment checked in or out. Check in out by first name, last name, return date. And there's no real way to make any of this stuff fun either on video or on the screen, so I'm sorry that you're having to deal with that, but it'll be fine. Okay, and did I do checkout reason up here? I did not. So let's go back to our equipment form, and I didn't do it in the entire thing. One of the things that I would suggest you put in your form is checkout reason, so that you know why they're checking it out. But you can do that on your own. You can just see how I did that and make it work. So I am going to get rid of this. And check in, out, inspection, notes. And this is going to be okay, I'm going to create two new variables and call them out inspection and in inspection. So that is going to be, again, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So variable 7. You can just copy this, copy, paste, out inspection is going to be 7. In inspection is 8. So now I'm going to go back down here and put out inspection. And if there's no content in there, it won't put anything in there. So this won't look as odd as it does right now. So again, this is in the body as well, just to make sure that there's some more content inside. So if they were receiving HTML only emails, this is what it's going to do. So I am just going to copy this. The details you entered are as follows. I'm going to get rid of this font color note, but you can do just straight HTML code if you would like. Timestamp of check out in inspection notes in inspection plus out inspection, and then I'm going to get rid of this. Okay, so now I know some of your eyes are probably swimming around in your head. It's not as hard as it really looks and drags on. Now this I am going to change to RCA BVP equipment check out in confirmation. So all of this is done. Save, and again I will give you a link to this information so you can literally just copy it and use it, but I wanted you to understand how it would work. One of the things that you have to do before you can do anything else is go to resources, current projects triggers, and what this is going to determine is when it's going to send this, because right now it's going to try to send it at open but it won't have any content in it. So go down here to where it says on open, change it to on form submit, hit save. So now what this is going to do is it's going to ask me about authorization, which basically says can Google Drive send emails on your behalf? Yes. Now everything in there is done. So what it's going to do is it's going to use this information to create an email to send to the students and from you. So I'm just going to go into the live form and kind of show you how that's going to work. So check out September 30th, 3:05 p.m. ASDF. Going to hit submit. Now what's happened is, in just a moment, there it comes. There's that information. So it's got all the stuff in there, and hopefully, maybe. There we go. One still camera was checked out at 9:27 at 4:04:48. This is your confirmation of checkout of one still camera, and that would be the name of whatever piece of equipment you have. The details you were entered were as followed. Timestamp of checkout is 9:27. Inspection notes ASDF. So this way they have a way to confirm that they checked it in or checked it out. It allows them to put notes in there for you so that you know what works and what doesn't work, and what may have been problems. So now that is the difficult part. Now the fun part comes in right now as we go to build custom URLs for all 35 of these fake cameras. So I am going to close down and do all of this. Now go to tools. That's not right. Let's see. Hang on. Give me just a moment. Get pre-filled URL. So you're going to click on responses. After you have everything done and you've got all your information in there and you've tested it, get pre-filled URL. If you wanted to, you could create where it would be Tom White, email address, and all of that. But the power for what you're going to do at this point is with the equipment list. One thing I'm going to do, did I close out of Drive? I did not. Okay, good. One thing that I'm going to do is I am going to move this above here so that it's first name, last name, email address, checkout, check in, and then it'll be each camera. Because what I don't want to happen is the student get confused as to what they're supposed to do. I'm also going to add the help text here. Do not change anything below this line. do not click on any equipment listed below. Okay, because they can still edit this. I'm still trying to figure out how to lock it to where they can't, but they can still edit that. So now back to getting the custom URL. I have clicked on responses, get pre-filled URL, and again, I can make it to where every one of these says Tom White or what have you, but I'm just going to click on the first camera and click submit. That's the pre-filled URL. So I'm going to copy that, put it right there, and go back. Get pre-filled URL, and I'm pretty sure that I just did this the long way just now, because I can click one, and this is where it can get confusing because you're doing it for every camera. Okay, 859. I just want to make sure that I'm doing this right. If I go back and just change from here to here. Let's see. So yes, I will have to go back every time, close that out. Responses, get pre-filled URL. Go down to here. Hit submit. That's the URL for that piece of equipment. Okay, so now that I have this, I'm just going to copy that real quick. Open up a new window, take it out, and show you kind of how this works. Pull it back onto this screen so you can see it. Everything looks right. See that that's already checked? That's where the power of this comes in. So I'm going to go down here and grab another one. I'm going to grab this one. And scroll down, and you see that that's already checked. So from here, it's really kind of simple. You go to a QR code generator. I would use this or TinyCC, either one. And copy I would go to my inventory list. I would go straight down the list, copy that URL, paste, and that's my QR code. A couple options there. Different sizes, you can share it. That's where I would get this, put it back in here. And when I am ready to print, I would just go to this URL, print that right there, cut it out, and slap it on a camera, and do that for every piece of equipment. So I hope that this helps. I hope that I answered any questions that you have. This is going to be on the front end pretty intensive. I hope it works the way you guys want it to. If you have questions or suggestions on how to make this better, you certainly can. Again, the steps are to get your inventory in, create your form, add the page breaks for a page for checkout, a page for check-in, send it, test it, do that kind of stuff, get it going, and then back in your inventory form, create a form URL and then in a QR code. Kids have to have some kind of QR code reader. Most of their phones at this point should have a camera on them that can do QR code if they have web access. If not, you could also go to a website like TinyCC and add a different, you could do TinyCC / RCA BVP camera 1, and that's for the students that don't have a QR code reader, and you just put that in your inventory as well. I hope that this helps. I hope that you get to use it. I hate that it took so long for me to figure out how to make it happen, and as soon as I find a way to where we can lock it to where the kids can't click on the piece of equipment that they're checking out down here after they have gone to the URL. As soon as I do that, I will update it and let you guys know. I'm going to make all of these public for you guys to share and use however you need. Please don't hesitate to reach out and let me know if you have any questions. I hope that this helps, and I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you, guys.